Hey guys, this week's video is dedicated in memory of Masha Bas Batsheva. For anyone who ever has any sort of allergy, especially here in Rochester, which feels like the allergy capital of the world, when it's springtime, the pollen's out, it's very difficult, right? The body senses some sort of stimulus, thinks it's a threat, attacks it, and you have an allergic reaction. Taken to the extreme could be, God forbid, autoimmunity, when the body itself, when the immune system meant to protect us can, God forbid, attack the body itself. In spirituality, there's this concept as well as autoimmunity. It's when the Jewish nation, which is one body, attacks itself, attacks each other, which in essence is hurting ourselves. We see this classic example in this week's Torah portion, Parsha Korach. Korach leads a rebellion. It's a classic case of autoimmunity against Moshe and God, essentially. And he tries to convince the Jewish people that equality means same. We should all lose our individuality. We should all be the same. While we're all equal before God, we are not all the same. God gave us each individual roles in this world with individual talents. Individuality is a positive, not a negative. We're not meant to toss that aside and just become homogenous. And Korach almost succeeded in convincing the Jewish nation to back him. And Moshe, obviously didn't want anything bad to happen, and he tried to convince Korach and his followers to step back. This is not the way. What you're doing is not going to end well. But they persisted, and it didn't end well. Later in Jewish history, we have a similar episode with the destruction of the Second Temple, which the Talmud tells us was also a case of autoimmunity. It was a case of the Jewish people, huge internal strife between the Jewish nation. Different factions ripping each other apart, fighting amongst each other. There was senseless hatred, which led to the destruction of the Second Temple. The Rebbe always taught us that the antidote to this autoimmunity is, I don't know, maybe it's corny to call it probiotics, but it is to senseless love for each other, to go to the other extreme. Instead of ripping each other apart, if we go to the other extreme, look for the positive in each other at all times, even when it's difficult. Finding the good within each other, lifting each other up, inspiring each other, bringing out the best within each other. That's the antidote to this autoimmunity. And God willing, very soon, if we keep at it, if we do that and we focus on lifting each other up and finding the positive within each other, we'll have the ultimate redemption when we will realize and recognize how we are just one nation and one body and one people. Shabbat Shalom.